Okay, so again, here's Bearing's Bike Shop. Bearing's Bike Shop is on the corner of Murphy Avenue and Brookline Street. And I came from that way. That's looking north on Murphy Avenue. I don't want to take you right down into the heart of Adair Park. This is a beautiful neighborhood. We saw a few minutes ago in my last video that it was established in 1892. So Adair Park, which is a historic district, is one of the many neighborhoods that was settled and that grew from the old railroad lines. The belt lines, which were put in place in the late 1800s and early 1900s, basically encircled the city. It was the 285 of its time, and they built these belt lines to divert or reroute the big freight trains out of downtown, because this is in the 1890s, 30 years after the Civil War. The city was coming back strong. Its first, one of its many, rising from the ashes, so to speak. And all these towns settled up around the railroads to support the railroads. Adair Park was one of them. Pittsburgh was one of them. All the towns in the early 20s, late 1800s, early 1900s, these towns were thriving. And that's how these towns got settled in. Unfortunately, the trucking industry basically put the railroads out of business by the middle of the 20th century, and the railroads pulled out. They stopped using the belt lines. So a lot of these neighborhoods that had been thriving because of the railroad industry began to decline. And then in the mid 50s and 60s, when we had the so-called suburban flight, that was kind of the double whammy that put a lot of these neighborhoods into pretty significant decline. So I've reached what we call the Allene access point. This is the Westside Trail. Again, I'm on Allene Avenue. I don't know if you noticed, I took Brookline off of Murphy Avenue. I took a right on Allene, and here is the Westside Trail. This is the place that you've probably seen some photos. There's a red brick building right here in the distance, and I'll right up there and show it to you in just a minute. But that red brick building, a lot of people take a picture of that because there's an artist rendering in the Sub-Area 1 master plan that shows what that might look like in the future. And it's pretty interesting. I'm not going to go down it, but that is the continuation of the Westside Trail going south. It doesn't go much further from here. We're near the south end of the trail. It goes all the way down to University Avenue, which is an east-west, pretty significant east-west corridor that actually goes all the way over into South Atlanta and into Peoplestown and so forth. So, but University Avenue dead ends right south of Adair Park, where this trail starts. That's actually the trailhead for the Westside Trail. So, a couple things you can see here. You see the new lights. You see these on the new extension of the East Side Trail. There's lighting light post every 90 feet. There's also security cameras on this trail here. So it's got a few more bells and whistles than the East Side Trail. So one last thing I can show you right here, that clump of trees over there, on the other side of that clump of trees right there is Aluma Farms. That's an organic urban farm, not organic, an urban farm that is owned by the Atlanta Beltline Incorporated, and they lease it to some farmers there. They grow vegetables and I think maybe some fruit trees eventually that help to feed the local folks, and they also sell that produce to stores and restaurants throughout the city. So anyway, this is the Allene access point, probably the best place to jump on the Westside Trail.